I can't believe the things I'm seeing. I wonder about some things I've heard. Everybody's crying mercy and don't know the meaning of the word. A bad enough situation is sure enough getting worse. Everybody's crying justice, just as long as it's business first. Toe to toe, touch and go, give a cheer, give your souvenir. Oh, oh. People running round in circles, don't know what they're headed for. Everybody's crying peace on earth, just as soon as we win this war. Believe the things I'm seeing. I wonder about some things I've heard. Everybody's crying mercy and don't know the meaning of the word. A bad enough situation is sure enough getting worse. Everybody's crying justice, just as long as it's business first. Straight ahead, knock 'em dead. Pack your kid, choose your hypocrite. Oh, oh, well, you don't have to go off Broadway to see something plain absurd. Oh, everybody's crying mercy and don't know the meaning of the word. Everybody's crying mercy and don't know the meaning of the word.
Good morning. Welcome to the live in-person and live Zoom worship service of the Universalist Unitarian Church of Riverside. Our opening hymn this morning is number 151, I Wish I Knew How, in the gray hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand and bow your spirit and join us in singing hymn number 151, I Wish I Knew How.
Peace.
Thank you for joining us here in person, and thank you for joining us remotely by Zoom, where we will continue live streaming and posting these services to our YouTube channel for our virtual attendees. I'm Adam Wedeking, a member of the Worship Committee, and I will be your worship associate today. Other members of the Worship Committee who make this service possible include Alec Peck, our music coordinator, who is filling in for me on the Zoom, and Kate Lewicki, who's in charge of our sound system. We welcome you to join us this morning with an open mind and an open heart, and with muted electronic devices, please. Let's all take a moment and take a deep breath as we center ourselves for the challenges ahead. It is more important than ever to reaffirm our values of justice, equity, pluralism, and interdependence in our lives, our communities, and in the world. We invite you to leave your worries and defenses at the door and trust that what happens in worship is inspiring and powerful. Together we affirm that this day and our being together can make each of us braver, more compassionate, and wiser as we begin a new day and a new week. Before we move into the service, there are a few announcements we would like to share. We'll mention several websites, email addresses, and phone numbers, and at the end of the service, we'll leave up a slide with all this information, and it's also available on our website. The monthly UUCR newsletter comes out the first of every other month by email and per request by postal mail. If you have something newsworthy or that you'd like to contribute, email uuchurchofriverside.calendar@gmail.com or call the church office at 951-686-6515. If you'd like to be added to our mailing list, please contact the church office. And our most recent newsletters are out, and they are on the, I believe they're on the table as you come in here, so check it out. It is an annual UUCR tradition to provide assistance to our local community during the holidays. We are budgeting to purchase gift cards of $25 per person so that families will be able to purchase gifts for their children and loved ones. We also open our doors to invite everyone to our Thanksgiving and Christmas luncheons. Your generous support will help us continue this tradition. Thank you. All of the proceeds from this fundraiser go to our designated SOS fund to support this effort. Our goal is to raise $2,500 this year. This year's Sharing Our Spirit SOS fundraising is being held from October 13th and will end November 27th. Collections will be on the second and fourth Sundays in October and the second and fourth Sundays in November. Contact our office or our administrator, Robert Braun, for more information. Please mark all donations to this fund as SOS. You may write this on the subject line of your check or place cash contributions in the specially marked envelopes in the pews and place them in the offertory place. If you don't have a SOS envelope, just write SOS on the envelope that's there. If you'd like to help us reach more families this holiday season, UUCR will graciously accept monetary contributions and donations of new or gently used toys, clothing, packages of new underclothes, socks, blankets, toiletries, etc. All monetary donations and donated items are tax deductible. Thank you for your generous support in making this program a success. The monthly book club meets the second Monday and will meet tomorrow, November 11th at 6:30 in the annex. The board meeting is held on the third Monday and will meet November 18th at 5:30 p.m. in the annex. That's the following Monday. Welcome to all of our visitors, and welcome back to our old friends. We'd love to meet you during coffee hour after the service. If you're comfortable doing so, visitors here, please give us a wave so that we can recognize you later. And for those on Zoom, if you can use a Zoom wave gesture or just wave at your camera. That way we can meet you and know who you are when we come out and talk to you after service. And when you go out to the parish hall, you can also find our visitors guest book. You can sign in, or there's a digital one, or you can just sort of scan the QR code and do it on your phone. Leave us your name and information before you leave so that we know that you were here, and if you leave your contact information, we can keep you updated with our church events. And for those online, the best way to get added to the mailing list is to email the church office at admin@uuchurchofriverside.org. And now I invite you to sit back, take a slow, deep breath as we move into the worship hour. You are welcome to read with me the mission statement of our church. Our mission is to foster a diverse religious community that celebrates life, affirms the individual, encourages spiritual growth and open thought, and works to advance social justice and environmental sustainability. Today's sermon was written by Reverend Frank Clarkson. Reverend Frank Clarkson has served as minister of the UU Church of Haverhill, Massachusetts since 2008. A graduate of the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, Frank previously worked as a freelance commercial photographer before he discerned a call to the ministry. He received his Master of Divinity degree from the Episcopal Divinity School in Cambridge in 2004 and was ordained to the UU ministry in 2005. The sermon is The Cost of Freedom. At its core, freedom is about individual liberty. It's the freedom to live on your terms, as long as it doesn't violate the rights of others. It's the right to speak your mind, practice your faith, and live your values without fear of persecution. This includes respecting the freedom of others. True freedom requires equal opportunities for all and must be defended. We don't realize its importance until it's gone. We have two lightings of sacred flames. The first is the remembrance candle for the indigenous peoples, who continue to cry out for justice and self-determination. We remember that underneath us is the unceded land of several indigenous peoples, the Cahuilla, the Luiseño, and the Cupeño. We light this sacred flame in their remembrance and in recognition of their ongoing struggle for freedom and dignity. Our second sacred flame is our own chalice, the symbol of our faith. We are blessed with this space and opportunity to strive to live out our common principles, to bring justice, equity, and compassion into our daily lives, to resist all that threatens the earth and her people, and to be a part of a world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Let these thoughts carry us forth as we journey and worship together. Today's chalice lighting words are, "To be a Unitarian Universalist" by Erica Hewitt. To be a Unitarian Universalist means we'll never be done with the work of telling the truth about oppression, the work of resisting any laws, policies, or practices that deny anyone their humanity, the work of stubbornly seeking out the spark of the divine in each other, no matter what, the work of creating heaven on earth. To be a Unitarian Universalist also means we're not alone in the work. We're not alone because our promises to love one another. We are not alone because we are companions on the journey. We grow ourselves into allies, helping one another get free, because none of us is truly free until we are all free. Thank you, Bill. Our hymn now is 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place, from the Teal hymnal. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand and bow your spirit and join us in singing 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy
This portion of our service is to support our beloved historical church. This can be accomplished in several ways. In addition to the weekly collection, you may send your checks to the church address, which is shown here. Once again, as announced earlier, please note that we are also collecting separate donations for our holiday SOS program, and these contributions must be marked specifically for SOS. You may contribute by PayPal using the QR code, which is shown here, as well as on the church website and in the newsletter. The Stater Brothers Market gives our church a rebate on Stater's grocery cards, which we will have in the church each Sunday. Amazon gift cards are also available. You get the full value, and the church receives a percentage for free. Please see Dinah Rowe, who's sitting here, or Robert Braun in the office if you're interested in purchasing the gift cards. Please donate as the Spirit moves you by whatever method works best for you. Thank you for your generosity. To those who give of their time and their talent, thank you for your generous care and attention. To all of you who have joined us here today, thank you for the gift of your presence. Will our ushers please come forward to receive the collection? There will also be a bag for hygiene items and food items for the less fortunate if you have any to bring this week. Our next hymn is number 1010 in the Teal hymnal, We Give Thanks. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you. Please stand and embody your spirit and join us in singing again number 1010 from the Teal hymnal, We Give Thanks. And again, this words will be projected on the screen. Our meditation today is by Julian Soto. We hold hope close. In this community, we hold hope close. We don't always know what comes next, but that cannot dissuade us. We don't always know just what to do, but that will not mean that we are lost in the wilderness. We rely on the certainty beneath, the foundation of our values and ethics. We are the people who return to love like a North Star, and to the truth that we are greater together than we are alone. Our hope does not live in some glimmer of an indistinct future. Rather, we know the way to the world of which we dream. And by covenant and the movement forward of one right action and the next, we know that one day we will arrive at home. Now let us pause for a moment of silence and reflection. Now I'd like to introduce Grace Preuss, reading the sermon, The Cost of Freedom, by Reverend Frank Clarkson. Please note that this is a pre-written sermon and does not necessarily reflect the views of the reader. Grace?
Thank you, Adam. Good morning, everyone. The cost of freedom. Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? The Sufi mystic Rumi asked this question almost 800 years ago. And it is piercing questions like this, coupled with Rumi's playfulness and love of life, and Coleman Barks' accessible translations of work, that make Rumi the most popular poet in the United States today. Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? Why do we impose so many restrictions on ourselves when there are so many possibilities available? Why do we hold back from joy, from daring, from deeper faith, from greater pleasure? For a nation that loves to talk and sing about freedom, why are we so repressive of one another? Why do we here in the United States imprison more of our people than any other nation on earth? We who claim to be the beacon of freedom, the land of liberty, we are number one when it comes to the rate of incarceration of our citizens, number one of all the nations on the earth. And still, we love to call ourselves the land of the free and the home of the brave. I still believe in the promise of America, that out of many diverse peoples, we can be a nation that stands for goodness and decency and a better life for all. There's plenty to love about this land, this place we call home. As the hymn says, my country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on cloverleaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. The great pastor, preacher, and activist William Sloane Coffin had this to say about patriotism. He said, there are three kinds of patriots, two bad, one good. The bad ones are the uncritical lovers and the loveless critics. The good patriots carry on a lover's quarrel with their country, a reflection of God's lover's quarrel with the world. National events can tend to bring out the uncritical lovers of our country, those who can stand no criticism of the red, white, and blue, those who say, love it or leave it. But what they miss is that those of us who are working for reform, for more freedom, for more people, that we do this because we love this country too, and we only want it to be better, to live up to its ideals. And this isn't new. In his farewell address to the nation back in 1796, our first president, George Washington, as he left office, warned his fellow citizens to guard against the impostures of pretended patriotism. What he was saying, I think, is to be wary of those who love to wave the flag and quote our high-minded words about liberty and justice, but who aren't willing to walk the talk, who are more concerned about their own freedom than liberty and justice for all, who are more interested in their own needs than the common good. I'm sad to say that it seems that our American flag is at risk of becoming a threatening and divisive symbol, because some of those wrapping themselves in it are the ones who want to return to a less diverse, more repressive America. There's always been a strong streak of individualism in America, and that's been part of our strength. But it needs to be balanced by a concern for the common good. It has become increasingly challenging to have any rational discussion with those who may have a different perspective, left attacking right, right attacking left, and actively listening to the reasons and logic of the discussion. Those who identify with either side are being hammered by their own group for thinking critically or independently. For a democracy to survive, there must be rational, independent thinking on both sides of the divide. Then each side must work actively to respectfully communicate and attempt to find middle ground so that we can move forward. Listen to these words by another of our great leaders, Eleanor Roosevelt. She said, "Freedom makes a huge requirement of every human being. With freedom comes responsibility. For the person who is unwilling to grow up, the person who does not want to carry their own weight, this is a frightening prospect." It's great to talk about freedom, but then you need to walk the talk. That's the cost of freedom. You need to carry your part of the weight. And for some of us, that's hard to do. It's always easier to talk than it is to walk. It's easier to comment and complain and be snarky online than it is to be part of the solution, right? Democracy is hard and messy and time-consuming. But the invitation is to be engaged, to listen as much as you speak, to be willing to listen to those you disagree with, and even be changed by them, to do the work that's needed to move things forward. Listen again to those lines from Rumi that invite us to be open-hearted and connected to one another. There is a community of the Spirit. Join it and feel the delight of walking in the noisy street and being the noise. Sit down in this circle. Quit acting like a wolf and feel the shepherd's love filling you. Be empty of worrying. Think of who created thought. Why do you stay in prison when the door is so wide open? Move outside the tangle of fear thinking. Live in silence. Flow down and down in always widening rings of being. We are living in both hopeful and troubling times. We are in an uncertain time in our country. People seem on edge, more tense, and maybe that's a natural human response in this anxious and unsettling climate. But some of us seem to have forgotten how to be civil with one another, to show common decency and kindness. Even worse, there appears to be an increase these days in hateful words and deeds. There's a growing number of anti-Semitic racist, and bigoted incidents. And this isn't just happening in other parts of the country. It's right here in Massachusetts. This is where the sermon was written. There was a shooting in Winthrop where an armed white man who'd written racist and anti-Semitic things killed 2 innocent Black people. In another incident, 3 openly armed men were seen placing racist stickers on cars during the Black and brown-owned outdoor market held in downtown Haverhill. And the other day, a rabbi was attacked and stabbed in Brighton. I reached out to area clergy, and I was moved by their responses. Several of us got together to talk about how we'll stand together against bigotry and hate. We have a strong history here of faith communities and faith leaders coming together when anyone is threatened, and I'm so grateful for these companions for their faith and their courage. So in these days, let us be faithful and courageous too. Let us be vigilant. We would heed the words spoken not far from here 150 years ago when the abolitionist and liberal activist Wendell Phillips addressed the Massachusetts Anti-Slavery Society. He said, "Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Power is ever stealing from the many to the few. The manna of popular liberty must be gathered each day, or it will rot. The living sap of today outgrows the dead rind of yesterday. The hand entrusted with power becomes either from human depravity or esprit de corps, the necessary enemy of the people. Only by continued oversight can the Democrat in office be prevented from hardening into a despot. Only by unintermittent agitation can a people be sufficiently awake to principle, not to let liberty be smothered in material prosperity." I remind you that freedom comes with a cost, and that cost is vigilance. That we are called to ever pay attention and to call attention to what is going on in our own selves and in our own relationships, and also out there in our society and in the world. The cost of freedom is having the courage to be awake and aware, knowing what prison doors are open and walking through them, and joining hands with others to help pull open those doors which are still imprisoning too many people. On this day, let us recommit ourselves to working for more liberty and more justice for all of us, now and forever. Amen.
Thank you, Grace. Our closing hymn is "We Belong to One Another" by Amanda Udis Kessler. The words will be projected on the slide. Feel free to sing as the Spirit moves you, stand there body and spirit, and join us in singing the hymn, "We Belong to One Another."
We belong to one another, to each other we are bound, as we build a world together, full of joy that we have found. What we are, we owe to others. When they need us, we respond. We belong to one another, and we hold a common bond. We rely on one another at the dawning of our days, when we learn from those around us how to live in loving ways. As we grow, we need each other and the gifts that we can share. As our lives come to their ending, how we need each other's care. We give thanks for one another, for each heart and hand and face. We are grateful for the blessings that infuse our lives with grace. May we offer our abundance as we're given. May we give in our thanks for
Go in hope, for the arc of the universe is long, and we can bend it toward justice. Go in courage, for together we have the strength to confront injustice in our daily lives and the larger world. Go in love, because a holy and generous love is both the reason and the means by which we will transform our lives. Namaste, Amen, and blessed be. And Satu. Thank you, Grace, for sharing your valuable time and reading with us this morning. It's sincerely appreciated, and we look forward to seeing you again. We will have 10 to 15 minutes for discussion following the service for those of you who wish to share your thoughts and observations on today's topic. Please be aware this will be included in the video that is posted online. For the rest of you, you are now welcome to adjourn to the parish hall. Would anyone like to come up and share their thoughts? Or is there anyone online who would like to share with us? Anyone? Where's Bill? We're just sharing thoughts, discussion about the sermon. Yeah. Anybody has any thoughts? Nothing. Oh, there we go. Where's Bill? Oh,
I did appreciate the talk, and I think it had some good messages. But I guess I am thinking mainly of the obvious, the election. It does look like Trump will do perhaps one good thing in the 4 years. It looks like he will end the Ukraine war. Other than that, his threat to massively deport people, I believe that's just the beginning of the shock wave that caused him to be thrown out of office the first time, but for some reason, people forgot what he was like. And hopefully Sonia Sotomayor will be able to stay in for the 4 years. There's mention of replacing her, and so then Trump would have 4 anti-Roe people on the Supreme Court. Thank you.
any other thoughts? Yes, Hannah.
Hello, everybody. I think it was a good speech, made better by an excellent delivery by Grace. I liked how there was condemnation of the far-right violence in the speech. I liked the call to action through the imagery of the jail cell with an open gate. But I did have to disagree with the characterization of our political climate as right attacking left and left attacking right, and a need for compromise. On some issues, there is compromise necessary, but on others, there can be no compromise, right? Like a single person deported would be wrong, right? And it's not necessarily valuable to compromise on most issues because we don't always have an even split in the population. So like gay marriage has 70% support. And that's a kind of issue where there really can be no compromise anyways. Like you can't ban half of gay marriages. And so one thing I'd like to share a story. Last time Donald Trump got elected, I was just applying for college. I was 18, and I was lining up to be a military chemist. And about a month in, the trans-military ban hit, and I lost funding for my schooling. And so I changed my degree to music, and now I'm a working musician, and I'm making a living, and it's great. But it did change the path of my life. And so I guess that is to say, on some issues, there really can be no compromise, both morally and practically.
Thank you. I agree with you, especially we talk about our values. You can't really compromise on the values. And even, to me, even if there weren't 70% of people who supported gay marriage, it's never right to outlaw somebody's ability to marry who they want to marry, no matter what the majority of people say anyway. So, Bill? Next time, kick it with your metallic foot.
I'm kind of stuck. What you said was right, but considering all the groups that we really expected to show up as allies during this election and not, there's a part of me that maybe because I don't want to have my heart broken anymore, there's a part of me that says, even if I unplug the obvious emotion that comes from having good people jerked around in a way that they did not deserve, there is this. As if we show the rottenness of their system and that it doesn't radiate good throughout the country, through the sphere, maybe we could use sort of naturalism to say, this is the wrong tool for the wrong place. You didn't listen to us for emotional issues. I grieve that. I do. I grieve it more than I can put into words. But if I have to sit there and make you watch all the places where the money didn't go, how it did not stay with you, how graft took certain things, I'm stuck with sort of a naturalistic point of view to break down the wrongs that have occurred and the wrongs that often occur in systems like this. And the only thing that bothers me from that point is that if you talk too naturalistically, it can almost seem like, of course it came to this. And I sure don't want that. But if we can sit there and say, all right, you guys won this time. Now watch your dollar bill go right through the floor. And maybe now you can realize that being a decent human being isn't just something that you do because it's decent. You do it because in general it makes the world that we live in better in a monetary way that comes back to us. It's like, first it's pain avoidance, like don't kick the metallic bed. Then it's do good. Yeah, first it's pain avoidance, then after a while being a decent human or having a decent government comes because we want to do some good. I had honestly thought that after 248 years, we were to the point where we could be decent because it was the decent thing to do, more than what we have. I hate refresher lessons, but I think we're going into one.
Thank you.
I'd be delighted to be wrong.
Any other thoughts? Anyone online with anything? Nobody, let me see here. I don't see any hands here, so. All right. Cool, well then if there are no further comments, thanks for sharing your thoughts, and please join us in the parish hall for further fellowship. We'd love to meet you and get some coffee and things.